I'm going to be talking about very specific fetishes that maybe you yourself are into, maybe you're shocked, and maybe you're disgusted with me talking about it, but they're real. And they're not just fetishes that I've catered to one time, they're fetishes I cater to on a regular basis. So this is why I feel like it's my calling to bring awareness to kink and fetishes, because people that are into these kinks and fetishes oftentimes just feel like they're weird, and that they're that one person in a million, nobody's like them, like they just feel ashamed, right? And that is another part of what I feel like my calling in life is to help people to not feel ashamed about their fetishes, to be able to embrace them and have fun with them. Because what is starting to happen with my work, which is why, you know, I've announced my retirement. However, obviously, I have a lot of clients that are basically begging for me to stay in the business, saying I'm one of the best. And I've been working with many of these people for years and years and years. And I've not completely expired yet, right? I'm still fairly young and attractive, and an older dominatrix, older meaning like I'm 48, so somebody of my age is going to be more respected than somebody in their mid-20s, just for the simple fact that I have the experience and the knowledge. I'm going to tell you about some of the fetishes that I do cater to, and if you yourself have experimented with these fetishes, great. Now you know you're not alone. There's lots of other people into it. A very common fetish is humiliation. And this is one thing that is starting to take me out of the business, because I am getting to a point where I don't enjoy, you know, talking shit to people and bringing them down. Now, it is being requested of me. Okay, you have to understand that these are requests, and interestingly, when you think about it, a person who's being dominated is literally leading their own submission. So they are dominant in the sense that they are requesting their fetishes from me. So I'm not telling anybody what to request. I'm not telling anybody what to like. I'm not deciding how I'm going to treat you or what I'm going to do with you. You are initially requesting it, which means that as a client, you are literally still the dominant in the transaction to begin with. And then, of course, my creativity has to come into play. So with humiliation, it's very broad. Humiliation can be as simple as calling somebody names. And, you know, I should probably bleep these out, but they are literally names that society has, would whoa, what the hell? And these are names that are requested of me, not just slut, but like the F word, faggot, you know? Guys love to be called faggots. And guys love to be called bitch boys, and, you know, all kinds of things like that, literally. But it's a fine line with verbal humiliation, because I can be talking away to some guy that wants to be called a cum slut, a cum dump, you know, a BBC whore, like all this stuff, and then all of a sudden I call him a faggot, and he's like, whoa, 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 that's too much. Don't call me that. Like, you cross the line here, and it's like, okay. And then you got the other guy that wants to be called a faggot constantly, and then you call him, you know, a whore, and he's like completely offended. So, I mean, I have to be very, like, I always ask people, like, what names do you like to be called, right? A lot of people are sensitive about their race, but yet then there's other guys that want to be humiliated about how small their penis is, and they want me to point out the fact that they're, for example, South Asian or East Indian, and that because they're that race, that's why they must have this small dick. You know, so when it comes to humiliation, I really feel like humiliation and the fetish of humiliation boils down to two things. One is that either you have trauma in the past from somebody actually calling you these things, or that you believe that it's because of you being this certain thing that an issue has started or has blossomed in you. For example, I find it quite interesting that most guys, and this is just wild, most guys that are into small penis humiliation, which is huge, it's a huge fetish. Yes, many of them are of ethnic background, and I will say East Indian or whatever the preference is these days for a person from India being called, and they want to be humiliated about how tiny their dick is because they're Indian. And on top of it all, they oftentimes like to be compared to how pathetic they are compared to a black man who has this huge dick. So I started to see so much of this that I couldn't help but start to ask, like, were you ever cheated on? Did you have a girlfriend that cheated with a black man, with a BBC? And lo and behold, yes indeed. I would say that 90% easily of the people I humiliate that want to be, like, first having a small penis, that want that as that's their sexual fetish, have been cheated on and their girlfriend left them for a black man. No kidding. Actual facts. Right? And so now, as humiliating as that was of an experience, as devastating as it was of an experience, now they feel so insignificant. They feel like their penis is so tiny that they literally get aroused thinking about their ex getting banged by this huge black cock. Isn't that crazy? So, I mean, it's just, okay, and so now let's take the small penis humiliation and not have it be compared to a black man's cock. So they just want me to laugh at how tiny their dick is. Again, 90% of the time, a girlfriend cheated on them and left them because their dick was too small, or they sucked in bed and they weren't adequate enough. And they have internalized that to a point where they feel like useless. Like, what's the point in going out and trying to, you know, find a new girlfriend? Because they're just going to fuck around on me too. So that is interesting. But humiliation goes way further than that. I have religious humiliation. People that literally are Muslim, or, actually Muslim seems to be the most recurring request. And I have several regulars who want Muslim humiliation, which, I mean, I sometimes sit and, like, almost clench my teeth, like, at the idea that, oh my God, I hope nobody can hear me doing this. So I'll go hide in the fucking bowels of my basement to do a session with Muslim